Welcome back. Police Minister Senzo Mchunu says fourth quarter statistics have shown an overall decline in crime, which, however, remains at unacceptable levels. Mchunu released the statistics for the reported crime rate between January and March this year, with some categories painting a grim picture of the country's ongoing battle against GBV. Sexual offences reported across the country also remain high. Crime expert Calvin Rafadi joins us now to unpack those stats. And Dr. Rafadi, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this evening. So the minister spoke about intensifying the fight against violent crimes and also saying that the stats reveal both encouraging declines in key categories and troubling spikes in others. What's your overall overview in terms of the key trends that you've observed in these statistics? And are there any signs that are showing that we have a grip on this fight against crime?
Yeah, good evening, Kateho, and good evening to your viewers. Yes, indeed, we must first, commend the police that coming to the murder, the murder rate, they are really showing that they are doing a great job. So we must commend them on that. And it's all because of, issues such as certain stop and search, the Operation Shanyela. Those are great initiatives in combating crime. And, some of the initiative is that the good policemen, they listen to information to know the whereabouts of the criminals who are even heavily armed, and they go after them. So, but one issue that is very worrying is the GBV issue. And we want to say that we do acknowledge the fact that some of those incidents, they are underreported. But those that are reported, let's also, the police, also guide them and help them that, they mustn't forget that there are victim rooms where, you accommodate such victims and, you comfort them, you speak to them nicely so that you can encourage more of them to come and open up cases. But again, those who now go and drop the charges against those that have committed such horrific act, we want to urge them that do not drop the charges, rely on the justice system. Let's show, decisiveness, and so that these perpetrators can be brought to books.
Most certainly. So you touched on the decrease in the murder rate within this last quarter. And of course, the one thing that everyone has been speaking about with regards to what the minister honed into is the categorization when it came to the farm murders and him just classifying how many Africans versus white farmers had been killed in that last quarter. How important was it for the minister to really clarify these numbers to that kind of detail?
Yeah, I guess that also, to clarify it in that category of blacks and whites, it was, after the aftermath of the White House meeting, so that we can prove to the nation and even the world out there that, the allegation of the genocide issue, it was just one of those unfortunate situations of certain allegations. But indeed, there are many black farmers who are victims of such horrific crimes. There are incidents, even myself, there are cases which I'm currently, helping certain families to investigate where, one of the chicken farmers, he went to collect some money because he gave credit to some of the societies and communities around. Upon arriving there, some of the criminals, they came there and then they wanted to rob him the money and he ended up being killed. So there are many incidents where even black farmers, but it was very important, especially highlighting such, on the aftermath of the unfortunate allegations. But again, what I want to urge most of the farmers, whether be it black or white, guys, they must stop, opting for cheap labor, whereby they hire illegal foreign immigrants where they are undocumented. Because when they are aggrieved, they end up, committing such horrific crimes and murdering some of these farmers because they know the whereabouts of where they keep the safe, where they keep the firearms, and potential of keeping cash within the particular farm. And because of they are undocumented, they are also paid in cash. And that's why you see even in most of those farms, you find there's a shebeen, there's a spaza shop that is run by the same businessman who's a farm owner. So let us, encourage them and not promote the fact that they also hire illegal immigrants in those farms.
So are you saying, Calvin, with the many cases that you work on, especially when it comes to murders on farms, that you find that mainly the perpetrators are people that are illegal immigrants?
Yes, indeed. That's why in most incidents, it becomes difficult to solve such cases, because the minute now you look for those particular suspects, you find that they are undocumented, that there's no trace of them even in the home affairs, for that matter, for the fingerprint. So that's why we are saying that as much as we are aware of the situation, we are also, are aware of some of the small research that we have done, that many of these crimes, they are also caused by illegal immigrants. Once they feel aggrieved, this is what takes place. I mean, even when you check with the Pala Pala issue, the squatter camp that is close to that, the farm itself, it's mostly illegal immigrants. Even the maid originates from the neighboring countries, and he brought some of the illegal people to come and commit that particular alleged robbery, one can call it.
So looking at other stats with regards to other types of crimes, Gauteng and KZN lead when it comes to rape in the country. What underlying issues could be contributing to these regional trends?
Yeah, these horrific crimes, what we have learned is that there are certain people who are prophesied, or they go through certain traditional healers or sangomas, and they are told that you should sleep with a virgin, you should sleep with a young child who hasn't been in their menstruation period, and you'll be good luck in business or finding a job. So there are those type of issues. Now, again, that's why also we need technology, because of in the dark web world, technology or communication, there's more of the child porns where it's committed in that fashion. But again, that's why we are saying that we need more awarenesses, and many of those such cases, they go unreported. People, they are scared to go and report such crimes, but we need more awarenesses. We need traditional leaders, to help us, the community to help us, to eradicate such, fiction or scenarios which people are told that, you can rape a small child or sleep with a small child and it will become lucky to acquire money. It's unacceptable. Wherein, again, some of these vulnerable kids, especially teenagers, young teenagers, when they go partying, most of their drinks, they are spiked. And then many of these animals, they sleep with them without their consent. So it's very concerning of such scenarios.
And I think what I'm hearing from you, Calvin, when you mentioned earlier the issue of our porous borders and therefore people hiring cheap labor, and that cheap labor being aggrieved would lead to farm murders. And then in this instance, you also speak of a number of social ills that lead to a high rate of murder rates within our country. How important is it that there's some interdependency amongst departments in working together in helping the South African police force with regards to some of these crime statistics? Because it seems as though these are sort of interlinked, whether it's labor, it's home affairs, it's social development. All of these lead to some of these very high crime rates.
No, indeed, they need to work together. In fact, I wish, in the future that even when the police release their stats, I wish correctional service can also release some of their stats in some of the contrabands, especially cell phones that are confiscated from criminals within the prison. Because of, there's a lot of crime that takes place within the prison. We need certain technology. We were hoping that the cell phone jammer can assist in jamming some of the cell phones so that a lot of criminality within the police cells. But guess what? Because it's concrete walls. If you use a jammer, you need to use a strong jammer, and then most of the prisons, they are allocated around areas where there's also residential homes. So you cannot, infringe or block even signals of those residential homes. But again, it's a collective effort. Now with the border spotters, they need to also give us the stats of how many illegal immigrants they have, infiltrated or sent back home. And then again, also the issue, so it's correctional service, it's the Department of, the Border Management Control, and many others, even Department of Justice, to come back to us and say, this is the conviction rate, and that's why even the prisons are full, because we convicted so many people when it comes to rape, when it comes to, issues of illegal firearm and the likes.
Most certainly. Calvin Rafadi, always a pleasure having your intake